You ever watch people do what you do but seem to have more success with it? Whether it's the business or relationships, you know you can do the same thing that others do, you just don't seem to have as much success in it. And no matter how hard you try, it's not working. This is where your value comes in, because your external reality is a mirrored reflection of your internal reality. And if you're living a reality where you're continuously trying, continuously pushing, and it doesn't seem to be working, that is because you have a value issue, a value problem. Now, this is really important because this is not just to do with your success or your business. This is to do with you as a living being. In this video, I'm going to explain to you why value and your value is one of the biggest reasons why you're not able to create the wealth and the love and the life that you want to create. We're going to understand what value actually is, and I'm going to change the way you look at it, because the way you've been looking at it right now is one of the main reasons why you're not where you want to be. So let's get straight into it. Now, I'm going to ask you a question, but I want you to pause the video and really think about this before continuing on. But before I ask you the question, I need to remind you of something. In the spiritual and self-help communities, we tend to kind of swing the pendulum way too far to the other side when we're trying to explain something. And look, that's understandable in so many different ways, but sometimes it can be a trap. One of the main things you hear is that your value is not what you do, it's who you are. And that is true. But who you are has a huge role in what you do. And this is something we're going to talk about, but it's really important for this question. You can even get a pen and paper out and write what comes up for you. The question I want you to think about is, what is my value? Take a moment, pause the video, and just think about that. So I'm guessing you've been able to sit down with that and think about that for a moment. The self-help communities will give you two possible paths for this question. It's either what I do or who I am. And because society has really pushed us and ingrained the fact that your value comes from what you do, not who you are, that in itself is extremely traumatizing. So there are so many parts of you, and our default setting goes towards what I do. But that doesn't make sense. Value cannot just be in what you do alone. If that was the case, children wouldn't be valuable. They don't intentionally do anything to give value. They just are. They are just being. And because we understand that, we can see that value alone cannot be what you do. So maybe it's what you are, who you are, being a parent. But then being a parent is, again, what I do because of who I am. Because I love my child so much, I will intentionally do things which is extremely valuable for him. But let's go down the path of it's who you are. Okay, well, there's more gray area here, because who you are is the knowledge that you have. When you learn more about a specific thing, no matter what that thing is, it actually changes you to some degree. By becoming more self-aware, I have understood human behavior more. And because of that, I can now relate to other people. So it changes my behavior, it changes who I am. I won't do the same thing that I used to do previously because of it. So the knowledge that I gather and learn changes who I am. I can use that knowledge to do something. So my value is not what I do, it's not who I am, because who I am also determines what I do. So what's my value? What is my value? This is a question that we're unconsciously looking for the answer just all the time, because we've learned that once I find my value, then I can show it to others. But your value is not one definitive object thing. Your value is actually dynamic. It changes. It changes based on who needs the value that you can give in that moment. For example, let's use two people that have two different skill sets. We have a chef and a hairdresser. Now, if you're hungry in that moment of time, the chef is going to be extremely more valuable to you. But if you need a haircut and you've got a full belly and you're completely okay, not even hungry one little tiny bit, the chef is not going to have that much value for you in that moment. So does that make the chef valuable? Does it make the hairdresser valuable? They are both valuable based on your needs in the moments you might need their value. So does that mean the person who's a chef is valuable or has value or doesn't? What we do is we grow up in this world. And because of all the trauma we've experienced and the rejection from our first social circle, which is our family, along with all of the other rejection that we've had from friends and partners, all the pain that we've been through, and without knowing it, we've unconsciously just been trying to show our value to people, because by showing your value to someone, then they like you. Once you can show that you are valuable, people are like, oh, that's really cool. I want to spend more time with you. I want to use that value. It's the value that I need. But we haven't learned any of this stuff. We're just experiencing being desirable in certain moments and undesirable in other moments. I used to play football, not soccer, football, UK. And I'm relatively good at football. And every time as a kid or even an adult, I would play football, we would pick teams. And I was always one of the first few to get picked because I was that good. In the game of football, I had so much value. And everyone saw me in a different way because of my abilities to play that sport. I would seem cool. I was desired, made me feel desirable, made me feel really cool and good enough. And then at times after the game, we'd go to the bar and have a few drinks and just chat and socialize. And I realized that in those moments, it was different. I was a very different person in the bar than I was on the field in the game. And people treated me differently. And that creates stress. And because you're unconscious of this, you don't know what's going on. So you're in survival mode. And the survival state behavior that I had in that moment was fawn. I was trying to please others, trying to make them feel better. I was confused of why I wasn't valuable in that moment. So I was abandoning my own needs, trying to make people happy. What I was trying to do was show my value. Whether that's talking about what I did in the game, which made me seem like I was stuck up and full of myself. And because I couldn't really think of anything else, I kept repeating the same thing over and over again, and that made me seem annoying. But what was going on in my reality, in my experience, in my life, was I had an hour where I had a lot of value, and then straight after that, I had no value. So I was desperately trying to show them, like, no, I'm still valuable. I'm a valuable human being. That's the way that I used to live. And on my own personal journey, I've discovered this. This is the behavior that I used to have. And if you're in this place right now, just know that that's okay. If you have any fawn survival state behaviors, that's okay. It's understandable. Now, the question that I want to ask you, and again, I want you to really think about this, is this. Why do you have to show your value at all? And look, I get it. All right, you're going to be like, well, if it's a skill, you have to prove that you can do that. But that's not what I'm talking about. As a human being, trying to show that you have value to exist, for people to connect with you, for people to love you, for people to want you. Why do you have to show you have value? Now, when I asked myself that question, I got the answer, because every time I didn't, I would get left behind. People wouldn't include me in their social events. They would do things without me. The trauma that I went through was my brother and my cousin, when we were younger, literally telling me to look the other way and then running out the house together so I wouldn't go with them. Getting left behind. And a host of other things that happened after that as well. So the trauma that I experienced is being rejected. And rejection is very, 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 very painful for a human being. And because of that rejection, you get to a place of, well, if I show people that I'm cool, that I'm valuable, if I can prove my worth, then I won't be rejected. That belief in itself is a huge reason why you go straight into fawn survival state behavior. And here's the thing. Now, as an adult, you're just continuously still in that behavior that you've always been in, that's completely unconscious to you. You're looking for your value so you can prove to others that you're valuable, so you wouldn't be left behind, you wouldn't be rejected. But here comes the next question that I really want you to think about. Why am I looking for my value? So I can show it to other people so they like me. The only way I can get anyone to like me and stay and love me is if I show them my value. And that's me selling myself. There's this belief that I have to sell myself. Who I am and what I am is not enough. By people accepting me, it shows me that I am valuable. By me selling myself and people going, oh yeah, yep, you're right, you are cool, That's cool. Yeah, we can hang out. We can have a relationship with each other. We can go socialize. We can play sports together. We can do whatever it is. By getting that confirmation externally from me is my confirmation that I have value. And what is one of the main mirrors manifested in that? Social media. The reason you feel better when someone likes your post or comments on your post or tells you how cool your video was because all of that is at play. Social media is literally you showing value. And by people liking it, people agreeing, people following you, it gives you that confirmation. And if you're trying to grow your business and social media is a big part of that, and you're stuck because you're not moving forward, it's a value issue. It's because you're still trying to get confirmation of your value outside of you. And here is the thing that completely changes the game for you. Value is not what you think it is. You have to be okay with understanding that you are not valuable, but you are valuable. It really only ever depends on certain circumstances. Something can only ever have a value if something else requires the value to fulfill a need. The person who's a chef, it will only be valuable to the person who is hungry. Once they are not hungry, they're not as valuable, or they're not valuable at all. There are people that have followed me on social media and then unfollowed me. Now, that could be for a host of so many different reasons. The moment they followed me, I was valuable to them. And then the moment they decided to unfollow me, I wasn't valuable to them. Does that mean that I don't have value? No. It just means that the value that I have to give in the world is for other people in different circumstances and different parts of their journey. But what we do is we'll go, oh my God, that person's unfollowed me. That must be my issue, my problem, it's my fault, something's wrong with me, because we're looking for this overarching definitive value within ourselves. It doesn't exist. Value is extremely subjective, based on circumstances of the world and individual people. You can go to the shop down the road and get like 100 tea bags for a couple of pounds. But when World War II was happening, tea bags were very, very hard to get by. People were literally hiding them, and the price of them were much higher than it is today. That situation of the lack of tea bags available made them more valuable. Then the situation changed and they're not as valuable. But that doesn't mean the tea bags don't have value. And it's the same with you. You have to get comfortable with not being valuable, because to so many people, you're not. And that is okay. That's the whole thing. That's the whole point. You have to be okay with not being valuable to certain people. So then what does that mean? Well, that means you get to choose your own value. I understand my value with what I do. I'm not doing the same thing a year ago that I was doing today. I'm not even speaking to the same people from 3 years ago that I'm speaking to today with the content that I put out, because I've grown. I'm actually trying to figure out how to speak to multiple people at multiple stages of their journey so I can give more value. And this is the difference. When you get to that place of understanding all of this, you don't try and show your value, you try and give value. The reason why it's really hard to build your business and make a success of it is because you're trying to show your value. You're trying to sell yourself. And that's very different than giving value. It's okay that you might not be the value people are looking for right now, because you are the value many other people are looking for right now. People are going to feel that needy energy of trying to sell yourself. This is something I've been through myself. Your outer world is a reflection of your inner world. If you're constantly using the evidence of the outer world as reasons that you're not valuable, you're going to get stuck in the pit of despair. This is the thoughts like, why can't I do it, come in. But the only reason anyone would ever have a belief that I can't do it is because in the past, every time you tried to do something, the consequences of failing were too overwhelmingly hard for you. And that's where rejection comes in. And it's not previously when you've tried to build businesses, it's everything. Everything where it was to do with you selling yourself so you could be loved, so you could be accepted. For me, it was when I was with the same people but not playing football. We would just sat either in a garden or in a pub or at a restaurant, and I was overselling myself. I was trying too much. There was too much needy energy because I was just trying to be loved. I was desperate to have validation that I am worthy, and I always looked for my worth and value externally from me. Now my worth and value starts from within, which has led me to a place of never abandoning myself. And the only way you can do that is the recognition of what survival state behavior you're in, and then doing what you need to do, not to just get yourself out of it, but to regulate your nervous system and resolve the perceived threat and whatever it was that originally brought you into that behavior. That's what I teach with my inner awareness framework. It's a framework that teaches you how to identify whatever survival state you're in, whether it's fight, flight, freeze, or fawn. And by regulating your nervous system, you will resolve the trauma that you have experienced, and you will start to find your worth and your value from within first. This is how you find peace. This is how you find your emotional freedom. Now, I will put a link to my inner awareness framework in the description of this video. Now, if you want to learn more about survival state behaviors and what behavior is a survival state behavior, learn how to start coming out of them and become more aware of them, you can also download my free survival state behavior PDF. I'll put that link in the description as well. Once you change your view and understand value as a concept and feel that in your heart, your entire reality will shift, and it will mirror you finding your value from within. And when you find your value from within, other people will mirror that, and they will see your value without you even needing to sell it to them. I don't feel the need to sell you what I do because I'm living it, but I've only ever been able to get to this through these understandings, and you can do the same. I'll see you in the next video.